What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Birthright domain review video here. So we're getting close to the end of the Northern Marches here. So we're going to take a look here at Tuarhievel, which is the elven realm here, and actually is available for play. The other one, of course, remaining, the big one, is going to be the Gorgon's Crown. We're saving that for last, of course, and then we'll take a look at the smaller sort of non-geographical or political domains, as we always do. So this, again, is available for players. It is neutral, but a question mark, so this is more on the DM side to essentially kind of figure that out along with the player, I would say, of course. And again, the elves here, definitely different than other settings, so they're very xenophobic, so they just do not like the humans for many, many reasons, but that's getting more into the lore and the background of the setting. So, again, available for players, and again, as it says, this is a good example of an elf domain, as if there were so many, right? So the other one we'll get to once we hit to the Eastern Marches will be the Cielwoad, which I'm probably butchering that, but that is another one that's available. So this one, though, is phenomenally, I would say, a little bit more positively disposed towards humans, just given his surroundings and a bit of pragmatism forcing that, because this domain is very close to the Gorgon's Crown. So the Elf Prince Philarain rules the 7 provinces here, and by and large fairly well settled, with the 2 middle ones there. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce them, but we have a 4 and a 6, which is pretty nice. And then some 3s and 2s as normal, but again, also lots of magical potential here. Nice feature here is that basically the law and sources are 100% yours, so no contesting whatsoever. Guilds are a little bit more complicated here, and you'll have to just kind of work around that, but we'll talk about that in more detail. So the reason for that somewhat nominal positive attitude towards the human realms is his half-sister, the Baroness of Dosone, controls some law as well. So, but that shouldn't be viewed necessarily in a hostile way. So the elves have no temples, as their race doesn't worship gods in this setting. So if you were wondering about that. So guilds, Meli Bairien from Kiriel and Adair Doname from Dosone are the only 2 humans who have enough, who are brave enough or greedy enough to trade into the elven domain. So that essentially is a bit of the guild situation there. And again, really, the fact that they are here is basically sort of at the elves, as long as the elves tolerate that, we should say. Sources, the prince dominates the magic of the domain, but graciously allows elf mages inhabiting his kingdom the opportunity to siphon what they need for their own spells. So plenty of wizards there. Got a solid treasury here at 34 gold bars, and a fair bit of regency as well, and then a pretty decent army. Again, elves generally being pretty good compared to certainly a lot of the non-human races, so they'll easily out battle the goblins, but Orogs and undead and other stuff will be a little bit tougher fight. But anyway, you get 7 units of elf archers, 3 of cavalry. So, and basically you could certainly blunt some initial attacks by the Gorgon's Crown, but if his attention was 100% focused on the domain, there's really nothing out there that's going to stop him. So really would require multiple domains working together to have a chance at stopping him. So the prince would like to remedy this weakness, so the elves of Tuarhievel remain on constant alert, and you can rally an additional 3 units of elf archers and 2 of elf cavalry, only 1 war move after an attack, so it's pretty solid there. So really, you've got basically 10 archers and 5 cavalry at your disposal. So the ruler of the last elf domain in the Elven Woad is Philarain, and a pretty solid character here. So if you want to take over the domain as him, so fighter wizard level 7 in each, very just fantastic bloodline there, and here is depicted as neutral. So the prince's mother, Queen Ibilchorus, was the granddaughter of the elf warrior Rove, as we've covered before. Some have said that Philarain looks much like his great-grandfather, but it remains to be seen whether he has inhabited more than Rove's looks. The bloodline contains both the blood of Rainier and Azrai, but the blood of the old druid god runs slightly stronger, so that's kind of where you're teetering on the edge there between good and bad. Philarain seems an enigma to all around him. While he entertains traders from human lands, he also holds court with the most hate-filled of the elves. He loves life, a quality one normally associates with elves, but he also flies into moods of black rage. Though smooth and handsome, his demeanor hides lines of ugliness and hatred just beneath the surface. Only his half-sister, the Baroness of Doso, knows his thoughts, and she shares them with no one. The advisors of the old queen play only minor roles in the court. Here now, the prince seeks to accomplish nearly everything himself. The tasks he can't accomplish by himself, he does assign to his childhood companion, Letha Daman, a mage of no small power and a thief of equal skill. So, interesting combo there. So, level 6 wizard and level 6 thief. This accomplished diplomat's honey tongue can sway even the most stubborn elf. So, a valuable resource that you should make sure to keep cultivating. Other NPCs, the elf nobles play an important role in the kingdom, whether they have blood or not. They come to the Council of the Moon to offer their guidance and receive basically redress to their complaints. The most influential family, House Tuarhievel, also seeks to exterminate all humans in the elven world. So you got to deal with sort of the militant, xenophobic part of your kingdom here. And then the matriarch there, Ruandis Tuarlakim, who is a level 9 fighter, seems particularly vehement in her demands. So that could be something too that, if left unchecked, might ruin some of your trade that goes on, and that might further isolate you as well. So it's going to be a tricky challenge there, and DMs should throw some of that at players as far as challenges go. Now, description here is basically, again, the last elf kingdom in the elven world. It's basically a place of dark forest and brooding beauty, nearly the equal of the Erebanian in its appeal. The swells of its hilly landscape bring to mind a sea of trees. However, danger awaits among these trees for those who lose their appointed way. Countless fairy clearings can lure humans to their doom. The natural world holds sway in Tuarhievel, making it a place of great magic. Even the dullest human can feel the eldritch power here. Power only fools would challenge. So, the Thorn Throne, the capital, basically a single plant carefully tended and shaped into a comfortable chair for those found worthy. It's said that the Thorn Throne will pierce anyone that it deems inappropriate. So, in the spring and summer, white and red roses bloom within its tendrils. The throne stands under a canopy of leaves in a clearing of oaks designed to resemble a great hall. So this is, again, his capital. So, and in the province of, we're going to butcher that, Quimhair. Weapons and armor of elven manufacture are always popular outside and also expensive. So basically trading in luxury goods here, but also musical instruments, wood carvings, and statuary constitute the kingdom's main exports. Trade can reach the roads from Sonalind or in Doson or Carolinian in Cariel. Merchants leaving the road become prime targets for the fair folk's whimsy. So definitely something that, you want to mitigate instances of that. So, and again, enforce sort of that rule and regulation that, humans should stick to appointed trade routes and all that, just so that, you don't have too many instances of humans getting lost and souring relations with your positively disposed neighbors. So, allies include Doson and the Sealwoad. The former earns the prince's loyalty because his younger half-sister rules there. The two have bound their realms together, allowing trade to and from there, basically to flow freely. Still, most humans fear elves' wrath and steer clear of involving themselves in this realm's affairs. Sealwoad, as the only other elf realm in anywhere, besides Rove, is a natural ally. Though the two countries split for a time when Tuarhievel opened its borders to humans, relations have normalized with the ascent of Philarain to the Thorn Throne, and with the likelihood that the borders once again would be closed to most humans. So that will be another tough challenge too, to sort of maintain some sort of positive relations with basically what is really one of the few other elven realms there in that part of the game, in that setting. So enemies naturally sharing a border with the Gorgon's crown means you basically have to sort of have constant vigilance against that. So as a past victim of the Gorgon's wrath, Tuarhievel views the abomination as its most dire enemy. The prince has sworn to find a way to destroy the Anshe before it again rampages through the Elf Kingdom. So again, you have enough military force to sort of slow it down, slow the Gorgon down. But again, if your domain was the sole target for whatever reason, not much you're going to be able to do to sort of fully stand in its way. So, but you can certainly take a good chunk of his forces out. But, we're thinking maybe like 10, 15, 20% tops, just as a sort of 1-to-1 trade-off, or maybe even 2-to-1, given the quality of your elven forces. But so really you should be all about defense, but you're very kind of stuck in a tough spot because given the nature of the elves in this setting, on the one hand, but then sort of that very real existential threat here. So again, you are bordering basically the big bad guy's domain here of the whole setting, and given the Gorgon's thirst for blooded individuals, there's going to be any number of those in your domain, and certainly, if any of those fall victim to him, then that is just going to make this already ridiculous evil creature just that much more formidable. So one other thing to note here is what they call the Hunt of the Elves. We're not even going to bother pronouncing it, but basically that still roams parts of the domain. Though the princess stated his official displeasure with those involved, the hunt continues to take place during the darkest of nights. Occasionally human caravans disappear on the road to the Thorn Throne. Even elf trackers the prince appoints to conduct searches have no luck finding them, though they might have orders to fail. Because of the anguish arising from human murders, some say the shadow world presses close in parts of the domain. In the heavy wooded darkness, ghosts and specters rise from where they were slain, seeking the elves responsible for their deaths. Likewise, the elven dead walk again to wreak havoc on humans who have despoiled the lands. Most elves and traders lock themselves securely away in such nights. One rarely has the opportunity to ignore the peril of the shadow world a second time. So that's another fun thing to consider there. So whether you are running the domain and playing that part of the game, there's certainly going to be a lot of challenges here. Now, it is, again, cool because you're really going to be different than pretty much every other realm in your group, right? Because there are only so many elven realms. And really just all of your choices will be weighed pretty heavily, right? So there is a need to maintain relations with, your half-sister, especially if someone's playing that domain in your group, but you most likely want to also maintain good relations with Cariel, just again for that trade. Otherwise, you are very isolated. And again, should the Gorgon come knocking, it may be good to be able to draw on some allies for military assistance. So, with that being said, if you're also adventuring in here, this is a very interesting setting, of course, as would any elven domain be. But especially given this setting where, if you are essentially not an elf, it makes for some very challenging and risky adventuring in here. And again, any actions you take in the domain will have some serious consequences. So, and just the opportunity here also of, again, being that close to the Gorgon's domain, that might make for some interesting but potentially very rewarding adventures if you were to sort of cross the border into the Gorgon's crown for whatever needs, if you're looking for treasure or just other challenges. But again, that will most likely draw the attention of the Gorgon himself, which, you may not want on your hunting you down personally, but then, that may cause essentially a war if it feels like, the incursions into its domain were from the elves or any other domain specifically. So, at the start of the setting here, nominally the Gorgon hasn't been active for a number of years, but that would be on you essentially in your adventuring group if you were the cause of that. But interesting also here just to for adventurers, but also maybe as a domain issue too that the DMs can throw at players. Just if the hunt is basically killing too many humans or other caravans and stuff like that, instances of creatures and ghosts and other stuff like from the Shadow World sort of plaguing your domain, but also potentially for adventurers that could be a real interesting challenge as well. And venturing into the Shadow World from this domain would really just be a nice sandbox for the DM to get creative with and see how that would look. So let us know in the comments, guys, if you have run Tuarhievel and what your campaigns have looked like, or if you just adventured in and around here, whether as elves or non-elves. Let us know in the comments, guys. It'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on this elven domain and just how the elves work in general in this setting. So hit us up in the comments. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. We will be coming to the Gorgon's Crown next. So then that will start wrapping things up here in the northern marches. Thanks so much as always, guys. We'll see you in the next one.